we actually have multiple different pillars in our company. So, we've got essentially different departments that their entire job, their whole role, because I remember, so I have 70 people roughly who work here. Okay.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to Skorch the Fears, episode 81. We have the amazing Austin. I actually don't know how to say your last name. Is it Zaback?
Zaback.
Yeah, sorry. I wasn't sure, but I got Austin Zaback. He's a super cool dude. I've been seeing all of his Instagram stuff, and now I've been watching him on YouTube. He seems like an amazing guy. I knew he'd bring a ton of value for everybody who came on the podcast today. So I really am excited to have him here. He's a beast. He's doing 2 to 3 wholesale deals a day, guys, a day. So this is not an episode to miss. Guys, if you're on Instagram, come on to YouTube. Otherwise, you're just going to hear me, and that's silly. You want to hear Austin. He's dropping the fire tonight. So you want to come on to YouTube to actually get the fire. Austin, my man, thank you so much for being here.
I appreciate you having me, brother. It is an honor to be here. And I'm excited to be here. And that was a pretty cool intro, dude. I liked that little intro you put together.
100%. I'll send you after the show, I'll send you the guy who did that for me, just in case you want it. Perfect. He's awesome. He's also my social media manager. I don't know if you'll need all that, but you could see he can do intros and all sorts of cool stuff for you.
Dude, I love that. Yeah, I appreciate you having me, man.
100%. So, my man, real quick, just tell everyone what you do. I kind of alluded to it, that 2 to 3 wholesale deals a day. But just for everyone who doesn't know you out of my audience, what do you do? What are you doing in real estate investing and entrepreneurship?
I love that, dude. Yeah, phenomenal question. Yeah, so I run a pretty big operation now. We do anywhere from, like you said, 1 to 3 wholesale deals a day on average, and obviously we have days where we do more than that, but yeah, dude, we crush the wholesaling game, and I'm really blessed to be able to do that at such a high level. And then I'm also an agent, and I run a pretty big retail operation too. So we've got a big retail operation. I'm a real estate agent. I've got a team of real estate agents that work on our team. And then, we do a bunch of other stuff too. We own rental properties, and we flip a little bit here and there. And I've got a lot of ideas and things that we're working on in the future. But, that is really our bread and butter.
Love it. Awesome. So just because this is just coming to me right now. There's always this little thing with agents and wholesalers. It's just like happens, or to people who wholesale, people who are agents. I don't know why. There's always this, right? Mm-hmm. And I just wanted to quickly ask you, for the audience, once and for all, which do you learn? Which is better?
Dude, great question, man. I love both of them. I think that, in my opinion, right, I think there's no reason to not do both. There's always been kind of like you talked about, right? Kind of that butting of heads, I guess you could say, between the realtor and the wholesaler, right? And there doesn't really need to be. I think that I'm kind of an example of that, right? And we, in my opinion, right, it's just another tool in the tool belt, no different than if you were going to do a subject to, you follow Pace Morby or somebody to that effect, right? It's kind of the idea of I can provide a seller, right, or a homeowner with multiple different options, right? And one might be listing the property on the open market. Another might be giving them a cash offer. Another might be doing a creative deal with them. And it's just the idea that I have multiple tools in my tool belt, right? And so to answer your question, there's not one that I inherently like better, right? I think that they're both great, and I do them both at a very high level, So I don't know that I could pick one over the other.
It's wholesaling, guys. I guarantee you that's the answer. He just wants to keep it under there, right? And I totally get it. You got both, so you got to say both. Yeah. But so this is Skorch the Fears. My fans know that what we were talking about is how do you overcome fears, right? I feel, at least for me, what holds back almost all new real estate entrepreneurs is fear. They're fear of something. I don't know. For everyone, there are different fears. A lot of it is fear of failure. Some people even have fear of success. Some people have fear of spending money. That's constantly like the common theme I noticed when I was talking to newer real estate investors or newer entrepreneurs, and that was what was holding them back from achieving the success that they wanted to achieve.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to go through your story. There was a time where Austin was not doing 2 to 3 wholesale deals a day, not doing an insane amount of brokerage deals as well, not doing flips and not owning rentals. Let's turn the clock back to right when you're about to go into real estate investing.
Mm-hmm.
What fears were you dealing with, and how did you end up overcoming them?
Yeah, great question, man. Look, I was just a normal kid, right? So I didn't have a lot going for me. I didn't, it wasn't like I came from money or anything like that, and not only that, but like, we all have self-limiting beliefs, right? And I just as anybody had just as many. I still do to this day, right? And so I think, I got into real estate when I was about 18, right? And, as an 18 or 19-year-old, getting into the game of real estate, you automatically have one fear no matter what, right? And that is the fear of not being taken seriously, right? Like the fear of I'm too young, nobody's going to take me seriously. How am I ever going to buy a property or wholesale a property or list somebody's property or whatever, right? And I think you have to overcome that, so that is obviously a big fear that I had, right? Another big fear, or I guess you could just say a self-limiting belief or an insecurity or whatever, because I think fears and insecurities and self-limiting beliefs all go hand in hand. But I have a lisp, right? So I can't fully pronounce my s's. You could probably hear it if you pay close enough attention. And that's always been a big self-limiting belief for me, right? And I think every day that I choose to get on camera, put myself out there, it's just a decision, right? That hey, I'm not gonna let anything hold me back, right? And I think for me, I looked at other people, right, that achieved massive success in the industry, and I looked at them, and it dawned on me that they were just normal people, right? And they, even the Grant Cardones of the world, and people like that, right? Like they're not inherently incredibly smart or anything like that, right? I realized that wait a minute, I've everybody's got fear, right? And everybody's afraid of something, right? And so at a certain point, I think I just made the decision to not let it get in the way, right? And I kept on going, and it wasn't like I woke up one day and all of the fear was gone and I was really confident and all or any of that, right? It was just a matter of every single day I woke up and I made the decision to do it anyway, right? I
Love
didn't
it.
let it hold me back. I didn't let any fear hold me back. And I really think that is ultimately how I overcame it. And then fast forward obviously to today, right? I still have fear. It's just a different kind of fear, right? And I still have insecurity and I still have self limiting belief, right? But again, no different than a decade ago, right? I still choose every single day, even on the days that I don't feel it, I still choose to wake up and do it anyway.
I love it. I love it so much. And yeah, that's a really hard one too, or like one that could easily someone could get in their own head about is a lisp, right? Because I mean, I don't know. Didn't grow up with a lisp, but like, what is, I would assume because people are a-holes on the internet that people comment on it or say
Sure.
something
All the
about
time.
it. How do you deal with those people? How do you deal with the haters? Let's just ask that real quick.
Yeah, I don't let them bother me, man. I think that at the end of the day, I believe that we're called here on earth to serve people, right? To help people. And I realized a long time ago that there's nobody perfect on planet Earth, right? So forget about what people say on the internet, right? Everybody has a problem. I literally guarantee it, right? And when you walk down the road or you look through social media or you walk into a restaurant or whatever, everybody's dealing with something, right? And I think it just dawned on me that, like, I could spread my message and my word and the good word, right? That anything is possible, right? And I disservice by not putting myself out there, right? Because other people are dealing with, maybe they're not dealing with that, but they're dealing with something else, right? They're dealing with whatever it might be, right? And I just it dawned on me, man, that like, I was given a gift, right? I was given certain gifts and certain talents and abilities like anybody, right? We're all naturally inherently gifted, right? In our own unique way. And it is our duty and obligation in the world to share that gift with people, man. So I think you can't pay any attention to the haters, right? To answer your question, you have to just ignore them, man. You can't get into it with them. You can't talk any sense into them. I just don't let it bother me.
I love it. I love that answer so much because you mentioned it right there. You're doing a disservice by not putting yourself out there. That's what I remember. This was something taught to me by Pace. Pace, I'm one of his mentees. I learned from him, and I was very afraid of doing social media for a really, really long time. I was afraid of judgment. That's what I was afraid of, really, right? And when he said basically what you just said, where you're actually doing a disservice to people, you're doing harm to people, because people could be making tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars from your content, but they're not, because you're too afraid of your own BS. And I didn't even have a list. I didn't even have a good excuse. I was just being a scaredy cat, right?
Yeah.
So I really, that mindset shift of you're doing a disservice to other people by not putting yourself out there. So I'm just really glad you mentioned that 100%. So going into it with the list, basically how I got it is you just said, screw it, I need to do it. People are going to hate, whatever. I know I'm a good talker. I know I'm good at this in general, right? So I'm curious, do you do it through direct to seller mainly? Is that your main marketing channel?
Yeah, so we do everything, right? So we work with real estate agents, we work with other wholesalers, we do a lot of direct to seller. We kind of do all of the above, you know. So the way that our current company is structured, right, is that we actually have multiple different pillars in our company. So, you know, we've got essentially different departments that their entire job, their whole role, because I remember, so I have 70 people roughly who work here. Okay.
Ooh, that's a lot of people.
Yeah. So I have 70 people, 68 or something like that. But so basically, right, we have different departments, and we kind of have separated it to where different people do different things. Okay. So, you know, we have multiple pillars in our business, and you know, that really is the way that I like to do it, right? Because I don't want, personally, right, I don't want to be a one trick pony, you know. Now, I think if I was just getting started, which I'm sure we'll talk about in a little while, then I wouldn't do it the way I'm doing it, right? But I've been doing it for long enough to where I'm capable of doing and managing a team, and I have multiple partners and the whole thing, where I'm able to do more than one thing.
Gotcha. Love it. So in terms of, did you start out in direct to seller? Let's start from the beginning. So let's go back. You're just starting real estate. Because one of the things I also feel, you were talking about your list in general with social media. Did you have that same fear too with cold calling sellers and stuff like that? Did you have any fears around that there?
Yeah, for sure, dude. I think an insecurity doesn't just apply to one area of life, right? So, you know, for people that have doubt, right, or they have an insecurity, they have whatever that might be, by the way, it could be anything. So for me, it's a lisp, right? For somebody else, it might be social anxiety, it might be stuttering, it might be not being able to properly present yourself, it might be acne. I don't know what it is, right? What I do know is that every single human being on the planet that I've ever met, if they're telling you the honest truth, they all have an insecurity, right? And to your point, that insecurity applies typically to every area of life, right? It doesn't just, it's not like, oh, I'm only insecure, you know, in this area, right? It's normally every area, you know? So yeah, dude, absolutely, right? Again, but multiple of the fears and insecurities that I had, right? I'm too young. I don't have any experience, right? I don't know what I'm talking about.
Real quick, how old were you? How old were you when you were starting?
18.
Oh, damn. Okay. So you just hit 18 too.
Yeah.
So you had that fear of I'm buying a house from someone who maybe is like 50. What are they going to think of me? Are they going to think I'm too young? So
yeah. Gotcha. And not only that, I didn't know anything, right? It wasn't like my family did real estate. And, you know, so here I am, I'm an 18-year-old guy, and all I really have going for me is a work ethic, right? I didn't have really anything else going for me. I didn't have the knowledge. I didn't really know what I was talking about, right? I didn't have the money. I didn't have the age, right, or the experience. I just had really my work ethic, right, in the beginning. And I had the belief, right? I had the belief that I knew that if I put my mind to it for a long enough period of time, that I would eventually make it, right? And I didn't know how long that would be. I didn't know how long it would take. I just knew that if I outworked everybody, right, if I just worked harder than everybody that was my competition, that eventually, right, eventually I would be able to make it in the industry.
I love it. How did you know that? Because that's a really interesting thing to think about, in the sense that for me, I also have that feeling too. I'm curious if you think that's like an innate feeling, or if that's something that you learned from somebody else, where it's certain people just kind of get that like, if you work hard, you're going to crush it and you're going to succeed. Where do you feel like you got that from?
I think to your point, you know, a bit of it is innate, and then a bit of it is self-development, right? So when I was probably 16, I started getting into self-development. You know, I remember watching The Secret. Do you remember watching The Secret?
Yes, I did. I remember
So
that.
I watched The Secret, and here I am, and the next thing I know, I'm you know, kind of running in groups of people that are hanging out with Bob Proctor and all the guys, like Tony Robbins and Les Brown and Eric Thomas and everybody that, you know, was kind of into that whole thing, right? And I started studying. You know, I started reading. I started, you know, listening to YouTube videos and all of that, and I started to develop a sense of belief, right? I started to develop a sense of I can do it, you know, and it started again. A lot of it for me was it started to again, it goes back to what I was talking about a little while ago. It started to dawn on me that the people that had what I wanted were no different than me, right? And really, when I made that comparison, right, when I made that analogy of, okay, wait a minute, all of the people that I look up to and have what I want, they're not any different than me. They've just been doing it longer, you know? And then I started to believe, right? And then but then you got to keep going. You can't just like go into the gym, right? You got to you got to do it all the time, right? So I had to keep working on it, and I had to keep practicing, and I had to keep doing it, and I had to keep, you know, going to eventually have even more and more and more belief, right? And that doesn't ever change, by the way. You know, here I am. We run, you know, 5 different companies that'll, you know, 4 of the 5 of them will do multiple 7 figures in 2023. And
Nice.
you know, there's just levels to the game, right? Like, nothing's changed. You know, I'm still, oh man, can I, you know, I wonder if I could do 8 figures. You know, I wonder if I could start a new company. I wonder if I could raise capital. I wonder if I could, you know, call investors and raise $1 million. And you still have that doubt will kind of creep in. You know, all of a sudden you're thinking about what you're going to do next. And even though I've done 3,000 deals or whatever I've done now, right, the doubt starts to kind of creep in, and you're like, oh man, but could I really go raise 100 mil, right? Like, could I really, you know, and you start to doubt yourself. And again, you've got to kick that doubt out, and you've got to take action.
I love it. And so is the process of kicking the doubt out any different when it's making your first cold call versus raising $100 million? Do you feel it's the exact same process and just being like, just do it anyways?
Identical. Yeah. Yeah. Because, you know, your mind plays tricks on you, right? Like when you level up, at least for me, right? And I don't know about other people, but for me, you know, you're not like taking into consideration consciously everything that you've achieved and then just naturally thinking like, oh, I got this. This is no big deal, right? That's just not how my brain works, right? My brain tells me I can't do it, right? Like that my natural kind of feedback is, oh, I can't do it. I'm not good enough, blah, blah. I constantly have to kick that out, right? And I have to say, no. I'm not going to listen to that voice in my head, right? I'm not going to entertain that. You know, I am good enough, and I am going to do it, you know? And so I don't know that that'll ever change. You know, I think no matter how much success you have as a human being, I think that we all doubt, right? And we all fear, you know, we're human at the end of the day, right? And I've never met anybody that doesn't have fear, right? And doesn't have doubt. I've never met anybody, man.
That would be a psychopath basically at that point. I don't know who doesn't have any fear whatsoever, right?
For sure.
So yeah, so talk a little bit, just real quick, talk about, so you're an 18-year-old kid basically, just getting into it. Just curious, how old are you now? If you don't mind me asking. 28. So you've been doing this for a decade now.
Yep.
Right? You're my age. We're actually the same age.
I love that.
But I started when I was 25 though, right?
Yeah.
So that is still really young to learn about real estate, how did you even hear about real estate in the first place? You told me none of your family did it. So how do you run into wholesaling and real estate? I definitely know back then there weren't TikToks of people making 10K and posting the checks from the wholesale fees. So how'd you hear about it? How'd you learn about it?
Yeah, I heard about it from an ad, on Facebook, and I saw an ad. I remember seeing an ad by a guy standing in front of a bank with a check, and I remember reading the ad. I can't remember if it was. I think it was. It wasn't a video. It was just like text, and I read it, and it was talking about the idea that I could get into real estate investing with no money down, no credit, and no experience, right? And I was like, man, like that sounds way too good to be true, right? There's no
Right.
way that I could get into real estate with no money down, no credit, and all that, right? And I ended up hiring a mentor. I hired a mentor, and it changed my life. I learned about wholesaling, and the rest is history. And here I am.
Would it be someone we know? I'm just
Cody
curious.
Sperber.
Oh, love him. Cody Sperber.
And so then I eventually partnered with him. I eventually partnered with Cody. He was my partner for multiple years. I ended up buying his Lamborghini a couple of years later after we partnered, and now we're good friends.
I like it. I like it a lot. I'm part of Avengers. I don't know. Are you part of Avengers? Have you ever been to
I'm
Avengers?
not. No.
Okay.
I'll have to come check it out sometime. Me and Cody are really good friends.
Nice. Love it. So you see an ad by Cody, right? You join his mentorship, you learn the ropes. What were your first challenges? What were the initial challenges you were dealing with as an entrepreneur, and how'd you overcome them?
I think for me, it was about figuring out a way to be consistent. I think in the beginning, you're very inconsistent in the beginning, I think, and I think you have to figure out a way to consistently do whatever it is that you're going to do, right? So for example, if you're going to go direct to seller in the beginning, right, then you have to figure out a way. How do I talk to 50 people a day or 100 people a day or whatever the number is, right? But how do I do that every single day of my life, right? Like, treat it like a real job. I have to do that, right? And I think for entrepreneurs, it can actually be kind of a catch-22 in the beginning, right? Because all of a sudden, we are our boss, right? So, that can be kind of a bit of a challenge in the beginning because there's really nobody to hold you accountable, right? Like, you could kind of just screw off if you want, and you really can't allow that. In the beginning, I think for me, I found myself not being productive. I probably should have been. And looking back, had I been more productive and efficient and done what I like to call the MMAs, right? The money-making activities. Because there's the MMAs, right? There's money-making activities, and then there's everything else. And everything else feels like you're being productive. It feels I'm being efficient, but it isn't making me any money, right? I see a lot of people who are posting on social media or they're whatever they're doing in the beginning, right? And it's like, that is a great idea. I love that idea. Phenomenal idea. But it isn't going to probably make you any money, right? And so it's like, you have to do that, but you also have to carve out time in the day, every day, that you take action and it'll make you money, right? It'll actually drive revenue. And so, yeah, I think that was the biggest challenge for me in the beginning, was really figuring out, like, how do I consistently do money-making activities?
So what made you feel you weren't doing the money-making activities? Because this is actually something really common that I notice with newer people, is that they don't focus enough on the money-making activities. Why do you think that is? Why do you think newer people kind of shy away from more of the money-making activities and are like, okay, great, I set up my website.
Mm-hmm.
I got 2 LLCs just cause, right? Why do you feel like people shy away from the thing that they probably know is actually going to make them money, and they go towards things that are not money-making activities?
Yeah, because I think it's easy, right? It's safe. It's really safe, and it feels good, right? Because remember, the things in life that yield the result don't ever feel good, right? So, if you wake up every day and you do what is hard, life will be easy. If you wake up every day and you do what is easy, life will be hard, right? And so I think that we as human beings, we naturally gravitate towards doing the things that are easy, right? Because we want to be comfortable, right? You look at our ancestors, You didn't want to get eaten by a bear, right? So you would avoid the bear if at all possible, right? Like you would do whatever you possibly could to not be around the bear, the tiger, the lion, that you don't want to get eaten, right? And so I think that as we've evolved as human beings, it's why 97% of the world, they're complacent, right? And they're stagnant in life, and they're not growing, and they're not evolving, and they're not making any progress, because they just wake up every day and they do the familiar, right? They do the known. And it isn't until you step into the unknown that you actually make real progress. The problem is that the unknown doesn't typically feel good, right? So making the phone call doesn't feel good. Making the website feels good, right? Making the LLC feels good, because you're not really stepping out into the unknown, right? You're kind of stepping out into the unknown, but it's still, there's really no risk, right, with doing anything like that. And I think that it isn't until you take the risk, right? The risk of being rejected, the risk of getting hung up on, the risk of getting the door slammed in your face, the risk of sounding like an idiot, right? The risk of whatever it might be, right? Whatever that fear or that limiting belief is, it isn't until you take that risk that you'll see a result.
I love it. I love it so much, my man. My man, what can my community do for you? Where can they find out about your coaching program? What's the name of it again? What do they look up? Where can somebody do deals with you? I know you're in Arizona. You said all over the nation. So is it any nation? What stuff can we put on here for the people to go check out?
For sure, man. Yeah, I really appreciate that. You can find me on any social media platform at Austin Zaback. My name is right there on the screen. And then, if you're interested in getting coached by me, you can go to www.flippinsimple.com. Flippin without the G.
Gotcha. Love it. How about deals? How do people reach out to you or your team to do deals, right? And I spelled that right.
Yeah, I love that, dude. Yeah, shoot me a message on IG. That'd probably be the best way to reach out to me. And then, either myself, I'll either reply, or I'll have somebody on my team reach out to you, and we'll do deals with you. And even you, dude, if you ever want to do deals, I'd love to do deals with you, bro.
You're literally nationwide? You're in
Nationwide.
Every single market.
Every market. So, I mean, obviously we're not in, I don't think I've ever done a deal in
metro
North
areas.
Dakota. Yeah.
We're not, you do deals, Denver, Colorado Springs, Northern California. That's where I do deals. So cool. Yeah, man, I'll reach out to you. Let's do some deals. That'll be freaking awesome.
Yeah, I'll give you my number here in a little while, and then we'll get connected.
I love it. I love it, bro. Cool, man. Austin, you absolutely killed that, guys. Please put fire in the chat to the people watching right now. You absolutely destroyed that. That was an awesome, awesome interview. I truly appreciate you coming on. You are so down to earth. I love people like you who have the 500K subscribers, have all the social media clout, but are still just very down to earth and absolutely down to come on podcasts and hang out and chill. So I appreciate you,
that,
man.
It means the world to me, man. I really appreciate you, and you're a great interviewer, dude. So keep doing what you're doing, and I admire what you're doing and all the hard work you're putting in. And dude, you're gonna absolutely, you're already crushing it in life, but I know you're gonna do massive, massive things.
Let's do it, dude. All right. Next week, we'll be back on our normal time, Thursday, 5 p.m. PST. We'll get back to it. Today, I switched it up because I'm going to be in Phoenix this week for Brent's Mastermind. That's why I wasn't going to be here I couldn't do it on Thursday like I normally do. So, guys, next week, Thursday, 5 p.m. PST. Austin, thank you so much again. Yeah. Guys, next week, I'll catch you guys later. Skorch the Fears. Let's freaking go!